Elegant brick chicken and parsnip puree. It doesn't look boneless, but it is. I don't have filet mignon money. I have whole chicken money at $1.49 a pound. I think it behooves us all to get real good at butchering chicken. And the first step is removing that wishbone. Run your knife in a V and stick your fingers in and grab that wishbone and pull it out. It always just gets in the way. We want to preserve that chicken skin. So we're going to cut along the breastbone, pulling the skin and meat away from the bone on both sides. The wishbone is out of the way, but we got to detach that wing joint. On both sides. Flip that bird over and run a line along the back. Again, we all want that skin. Halfway up the back, you get to the oyster, stick your knife in and separate the meat from the bone. Follow down into the hip and click. It's out. You're 90% of the way there. The rest of it is just following along the rest of the carcass, separating the meat, and we have a semi-boneless half a chicken. Semi-boneless is good, but we want it to sit flat in the pan. So we're going to remove the rest of this wing, get it out of the way, flip it back over, and we got to get rid of this leg bone and let gravity do the work. By holding up the leg and scraping off the meat, we can follow right down the bone. Run your knife past the knee and make a cut, separating the meat from the knee, and continue to scrape down the bone. You're basically done. You just gotta and pull out the leg bone. Now, with the exception of the tip of the wing and the end of the leg, you're boneless. Now that you've done half, the other half shouldn't be a big deal. Of course, save the carcass to make a stock. The major butchering's done, but we still got two more jobs. First, we got to put flavor in this meat with some grated garlic. Grated garlic and Shaoxing cooking wine. You don't have to be cooking Chinese to use Shaoxing cooking wine. It's just good. Salt and pepper. This is a dry brine. Just make sure that you get that garlic everywhere in the meat. The second thing we got to do is preserve that skin we saved. If we take a minute now and attach that skin to the meat with a couple of bamboo skewers, poked through will hold that skin tight. You probably want to do that in a couple of spots. Cut off the excess, but give it a little room to stretch. And finally, some salt on the skin will begin the process of us getting that crispy skin later. Now all we got to do is put this in the fridge overnight, giving that Shaoxing wine and garlic time to work underneath and that skin to dry out on top. We think of carrots as always being orange, but they can be yellow or purple too. Parsnips are always white, like bright white. But parsnips can be bougie as f***. Don't let that taper mess with you. We got to cut these in the same size relative pieces. So when you get to the end, cut into quarters. Parsnips can be super creamy, but to give these a little more body, we're going to add a potato. Everybody cut the same size. Parsnips and potatoes. Straight into the pot. With no water or nothing. Parsnips, potatoes, salt. Couple of cubes of butter and parchment. We don't want them to completely dry out. After a night in the fridge, the salt dried out that skin, which is going to help get it crispy later. And because it's boneless, we can get it flat if we use a weight. In this case, a brick. Any old mangy brick will do. We just got to wrap it in foil. I know it's a saucepan, but we're using the oven for those parsnips. Because our stovetop is going to be busy with not one cast iron pan, but two. Turn to low. We want to get these pans heated up first. We don't want them scorching hot. Neutral oil for insurance. Don't start with olive oil. It won't stand up that long. Something like avocado oil, canola oil if you have to. And skin side down for that chicken. Then put the brick on. And keep that pan on low. We're going to be here a while. We give each piece its own pan. No way we can overcrowd now. Low and slow. Well, kinda. After a few minutes, you may want to reposition that brick. You want to keep maximum surface area in contact with the pan. But don't be tempted to look under there yet. Just leave it. Cooking the parsnips in the oven first helps give them that roasty flavor. But they're not fully cooked yet. Water and heavy cream. Parsnips love heavy cream. "30 minutes on low. But it's worth it. I told you we'd get it crispy. Those look good. We're done with those bricks, but those chickens gotta finish cooking. We're not gonna have any problem temping out now, I promise you that. We're ready. That meat's gotta rest. We're not missing out on that flavor. We're adding shallots. Not just shallots, celery and carrots too. Finely dicing them will help us extract that flavor quickly. Now those parsnips and potatoes are fully cooked. We just got to get them smooth. Just check them for salt, but those are going to be great. All those bits and chicken juices reduced. White wine to pull them all up. In both pans. A sprig of thyme. We haven't added any herbs yet. Chicken stock and reduce. Those bubbles tell me we're close. You always want to do your reducing in your bigger pan. And don't keep liquid in your cast iron pan. Clean them out right away to preserve them. This is a sauce, not a gravy. Cold butter and swirl. Mounding the sauce will enrich it, but we're not making a thick gravy. Those aren't mashed potatoes. Those are pureed parsnips.
Yeah, that parsnip puree is good.
With a piece of chicken. And some of that elegant sauce.
Oh, God, that sauce.
Little garnish won't kill you. Some parsley and a lemon. That's not average.
It is elegant. Ooh, that crispy skin.
Boneless.
Look at that. Cut right through that. White and dark meat.
All the way through.
That's amazing. With the parsnip, the pureed parsnip, I love that over mashed potatoes.
Parsnip.
Oh, that sauce is divine. It's like a champagne sauce.
Not a gravy, it's a fancy sauce.
Yeah, it's like a fancy restaurant. That's like fine dining right there. Fine dining in your kitchen.